have the other ones available in there.
Wait.
But
So, Luke, what are you drinking today? Coca-Cola.
Morning on the way to the gym and set my ukulele on top of the car and then drove off down the road.
I mean, a bow after that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Mojo! I learned my lesson from last time.
What a welcome, thank you. I drink the most fruity drinks imaginable.
It's laundry day.
it's laundry day.
So you always wear hats with laundry day.
I'm going to did you a favor, James. I just say, no, later.
So how did you two meet?
Well, there's these places in San Francisco. I think they're called bathhouses.
It's like one of those things where everyone wants to focus on like the big events that happen, but day to day, what we're doing is we're on like 12-hour draw streams, smoking weed, making comics. It's chill. It's so much fun, and like
Man, it's I'm not a YouTuber. I do this because I want to sell comic books. Woohoo! Yes, guys, there we are. It is not Sunday. No, it is not Sunday, and still we have a drink with Brink. Why? Because there are just so many cool campaigns, and sometimes you want to help people. You want to bring as many indie creators on as possible. And to be fair, I could do this every day. There are so many awesome campaigns, but so technically that would be possible were it not that I'm not a YouTuber. So I do this because I love the medium. But I also have my own comics to make, right? So that's my job, making comic books, right? And right now we have a campaign going on for Perfect 10 Book 5 and POWERTRIP Book 2. It's a combined campaign, so 2 books, 1 campaign. Very easy for me, for you. And the links to that are in the description of this video, guys. All right, I'm still a little bit upset that StreamYard up their prices like 40%, 45%. It was nuts, guys. So I had to quit it. So now I'm working with Streamlabs. It's technically fine, but it just not StreamYard. You know, it's not as smooth. Like videos don't really connect. Sometimes videos just end weird. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, we manage. We're still here. So and let's see who's with us in the chat today, guys. Oh wait, the chat. Darkside is comics. Hail Darkside is comics. How are you doing, sir? All the way from the Netherlands, where I am. So guys, subscribe to Darkside is Comics YouTube channel for daily comic book reviews. And then we have David Feed. Oh no, catch the replay. I'm at work at the moment. It means at the moment. Yeah, at the moment, but also it is when you want to pin some cash, right? That's the ATM where you pin some cash. Right. And yes, daily says Doug says comics. Doug says I still don't know how Rumble works. My videos will not be uploaded anymore. Yeah, I this stream is live on Rumble right now. It's a bit bothersome. You have to put in the special code to make the connection, and I haven't figured everything out. I get it to work, but it's a bit of a hassle. Anyway, yeah, that's we need to do what we need to do, guys, because YouTube, YouTube is YouTube. We all know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the guest. It's a returning guest. He's been on the show before. He's a wonderful artist, really good artist, and I think more people should know about him. It's no Marinus. No, it's just uploading. You know how that works, but then you have the live streams like I'm doing right now, and they upload automatically while you stream, right? So when you do live streams, I can explain to you. Oh, right. All right. The guest, time for the guest. Like I said, returning guest, and I have to find my video to introduce him. I have it right here, guys. So get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have a very warm welcome for Mr. Luka Brico.
All right, we're live.
Let's do it like this.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction and for the bonus weekly stream that we organize here. That's amazing.
Yeah, this Friday slot. I kind of like it. It's like you do the Friday, and then you have the weekend.
Yeah, off.
Like in front of you.
I was convinced that it's a Friday. that it's usually on Fridays. I don't know why. Like I made it up and it got stuck with me. Hello everyone. Hello chat. I guess let's start with a little fun story. We were about to start streaming and my headset died. I mean, it didn't die. It just wouldn't connect, and my camera would not connect with Streamlabs at all. It was like some other app is interrupting me. Goodbye. So I had no camera and no headset, so I couldn't hear and I could not be seen. I could only speak. So that's not a good guess, honestly. It wouldn't work. So I just had to grab this iPad and hopefully it's fine. It should be fine, but
that works.
Yeah, it was just next to me and. All right, it's your turn. Let's see what you can do. Everything fails. Holy guacamole!
But you made it. You made it, man.
Yep. We made it. We're here.
Welcome. And also welcome to Miska in the chat. Welcome, Miska.
Hello, Mishka. Or Mishka. I guess it's a Mishka. It's probably Mishka. If I had to guess. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's a nice
I'll get
name.
corrected eventually.
And Clara.
And the cat.
Clara and the cat.
I thought the cat was Clara.
No, the cat was.
He just jumped in right at the moment.
Right.
Perfect timing.
So, Misha, Clara, new names in the chat. Welcome all. Welcome. All right, Luka, before we start to talk about anything, I have to ask you the first question that I have to ask all my guests is, what are you drinking right now?
It's Somersby. It's a pear cider.
All right, pear juice.
I'm not big on alcohol, but if I have to go for something, I usually take the fruity stuff. That's my favorite. So, yeah.
Pear cider. Interesting. Yeah. This is not convenient like this, but we'll try and manage. Right. Cool. So usually nowadays I have someone, Jens, my partner Jens, and have a video, and he talks about your cider, but Streamlabs is very weird with all the videos. I can't organize the videos.
Yeah,
so it's too many videos, so I can't do that.
I have a lot of experience as of late with very, very basic things just failing for no reason at all. Like this is like the past couple of months has just been like the most basic thing will fail.
It's like you
and
develop
I
some
don't
sort of.
expect this.
It's like you develop some sort of superpower that isn't really convenient.
Yeah, my superpower is like inconvenience at the wrong moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make a good comic book about that one. We will probably pass this idea. It's free. If someone else wants to take it, like, go for it. There you go. Video permission to do it. I don't think I could do it justice. It's too personal for me. I'll get like my emotions involved and ruin everything. So yeah, it wouldn't work well.
Right, Luka. So for people watching right now and they're thinking, who is this Luka Brico? So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, etc.?
Croatian illustrator. I've fallen in love with illustration and depicting fantasy characters when I was like, well, 15 years ago was when I got a bit more serious about it. It was always there, but I don't know, somewhere when I was 13, 15, roughly there, it kind of clicked that, oh, this could be my calling. This could click. And funnily enough, it happened when I was, I found concept art for the Lord of the Rings movie, and I was just like drawing that, like imitating the art, and that kind of clicked with me a lot. So from there, I went from like, and
did you draw like traditional? Did you
hand, I started with pencils. Pencil art was the first thing that really inspired me, because you know, when you're a kid and you see the comic with like the digital Spider-Man, you're like, oh, that's magic. I don't know how that works. And then you see an oil painting, and you're like, that's magic. I don't know how that works. And then you see like a professional, like a 60-year-old professional doing it his whole life, do something with a pencil, and you're like, I got a pencil. I bet I can do that. And you can, but it takes a lot of time to get there. So that's basically my origin story. I have a pencil. I bet I can do that. And that's been my motto.
Do you think that everyone can draw, or is it also?
Oh, for sure. I had this basic debate with. I went to the Arts Academy, but the Art Academy also has what do you call it in English? Like pediatric part, it's like school education, working with children, mostly education.
Right.
And there was a teacher there was a professor on the education side. So she was just there all about psychology and stuff. We just happened to be art students that were attending her class. And she said something like, you know, it does require talent to get good at drawing. And there were a few students that were like, no, not really. No, it doesn't. So we had this debate, and I told her, listen, if you spend 3 hours every day for 10 years straight drawing, like you are bound to get good at it. So I kind of like got her in this corner where she has to admit that she's like a complete anti-talent, or admit that I'm right, basically. But yeah, it's some people catch it faster, some people are slower. I think that drawing in general is a lot about figuring out yourself and your own limitations. It is about fighting yourself. Like the toughest program you will ever learn as an illustrator is your own brain, actually. You put a lot of limitations on yourself naturally, and art will make you confront them if you want to evolve in any sense of the word. Like the more you confront yourself, the better your art gets. So yeah, I've had plenty of moments where I know how to make something better, and I just don't. And I literally have to like sit there and think and talk to myself, like, why don't you just do this when you know it's better and you know the path to get there? Like, why don't you just like climb up the stairs? You know, it's easy. They're right there.
Right.
And then you realize that you fall into kind of comfort zones, and then you have to challenge yourself to get out of the comfort zone. Even when you know the best answer and easier route, sometimes like the worst result and the long road is just your comfort zone. So you go the long road for the worst result, and you have to like fail like 10 drawings or paintings or whatever to finally tell yourself enough is enough, and then fix that part of your painting process. And it just keeps repeating, and it's never ending. And which is the beauty of it all, you know. Like it's a never-ending task. Nobody can ever like put down a pencil and say like, I'm done. I've reached the limit of drawing. Like I made the best drawing. It's over. I can do something else now. Finally, like you never reach that point.
No. Even within one project, you know, you have to decide when you're done. Now it's finished. You know, you want to keep tweaking it. keep perfecting it, right? But
Sure.
at some point you need to let go.
Yeah. There is that in art, in just like direct drawing and painting as well. Like sometimes a painting looks really good after like 2 or 3 hours, and you should probably leave it. You know, like that's when it peaks. Some of them, for some reason, reason or another, that does happen. Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of that for sure.
Plus, you have sometimes that you can like spice it up like on a technical level, but then a lot of art is based on like instant feelings, like the moment in the moment thing, and you capture that, right, and then you have to quit because when you keep going.
Yeah, like someone like a kind of a meme that happens with art students is there, for example, like it's a simple task. You're just making a portrait, and they make something that's like very expressive, and it captures either their own psyche or the psyche of the person who is being studied, painted. And then they kind of keep painting, and then they go from like something very unique and expressive to something that's just well done. It's well done, but it's another painting, and the thing you had before is like there's something just different about it. There's something that like tickles the brain in the right way, simply.
Right.
There is a lot of that for sure.
So how did you find you have a very specific style, right? So how did you think you found your own style? Does it just happen, or do you actually guide that?
I mean, style is a lot like handwriting, like imagine asking someone like, how did you find your handwriting? It just kind of happened. For me, like very often I don't really even see or recognize my own style. And then a lot of people come up to me and like, oh, this looks like it's yours. Or, I recognize this piece was yours immediate. And I always had this impression that maybe my art is a little bit more generic, but everyone just figures me out immediately.
Really?
So there probably are a couple of clicks that are my own, for sure.
Right. Because if people don't know, this is what you make, right?
Yep.
And this is just fantastic. Look at these colors, guys. I love this so much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like style also comes from inspiration. And what kind of subject matter you're dealing with. Like I've always liked fantasy, and I don't go like, I like to say that I do dark fantasy, but then when you say dark fantasy, people usually think about some kind of extreme. But I just kind of like the cool hillscape dark fantasy aesthetic. I don't want to like turn into like a slasher flick immediately, But yeah, I do love dark fantasy aesthetics, so that immediately requires you to make an art style that's a little bit more serious, a little bit grounded in reality. But I guess I also do kind of like often smooth it out and clean up everything.
Right. And this Iverrian, how do you pronounce it? Iverrian?
However you like, as long as people pronounce it, I'm happy. As long as people are talking about it, I'm happy. Iverrian is the best.
Iverrian.
Rolling R. I'm Croatian. I'm from the Balkans. A lot of languages here are kind of like tough. So like people from here would probably read it as Iverrian, and that's
yes.
It comes
naturally.
natural
to
Scottish.
Me. Like
it does. I mean,
yeah,
sure, yeah, it does a little bit.
Really cool. So this is the name of a like fictional land.
Iverrian is the name of the franchise, basically, and it's also the name of the main fictional race that lives in this world.
Right.
They are descendants from a god, like kind of a goddess-like character called Iveris, which was the first Iverrian. Her story is going to be like somewhere way later down the line. Don't expect to see her anytime soon. But Iverrian is basically a human that has evolved further. And usually this evolution is influenced by something. So like a very easy thing to imagine would be, I guess a werewolf would kind of be like a decent example of an Iverrian. Like they were like, they could be like humans that were kind of who have a culture that evolved around wolves. So they kind of evolved to look like them with time. Or basically like another good example, like I'm using examples that already exist in fiction, like a Sylvan they're usually elves that are made from like trees and plants and tree bark and stuff like that. That's like an excellent example of what an Iverrian would look like. So they have a lot of different like shapes and sizes and appearances, and they all evolve with a different thing. Some of them adapt to live with a certain animal. Some of them adapt to swimming underwater. Some of them adapt to swimming deeper underwater into like the deep dark ocean. Some of them are excellent mountain climbers, so their like physical appearance reflects that. Some of them are very insect-like, so of course, again, their appearance reflects that as well. The current examples we have, chapter 2 introduced Ayla, who is an Iverrian Feinar Rosari. So they kind of have like also a naming sequence to them. So Iverrian is the base race. Feinar means they evolved with plants. And then Rosari is a specific one within that like family of Iverrians. And Ayla has...
There is some naming, like the name Rosari. You said Rosari, right?
It's like a rose, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like it is complex. So when I can grab something simple that makes sense, I just go for that. Like I could make it complex. I could just like imagine something that sounds kind of Latin, but I do try to simplify it where I can. So for example, you have Ayla, who's Rosari, and she has a head that. She has like a rose growing out of her head and a bunch of petals growing all over her body. And she has green skin. So she kind of like resembles a cross between a human and a rose. And she has certain abilities that reflect that, where she can like, she has a certain pollen that she can produce that enables better, like it helps nature around her, but it could also cause damage, which is a theme that's kind of explored in chapter 2 and will be repeated later on. Then, for example, we have an Iverrian Zyvera lichen, which they are basically werewolves. That's it.
Right.
And then there's like Iverrian Zyvera Rokashi. Those, I guess Rokashi is a little bit unique. They're kind of adapted to a lizard that is used to very high temperatures, and they ride those lizards around. So they kind of just how Mongolians kind of evolved. Their culture revolves around horses, and they're like when you think of like Mongolians, you either think about throat singing or how great they are at horseback riding. You know, so the Rokashi are kind of similar to them, except they don't have horses. They have these like weird red giant lizards that they ride around and go into combat with.
Right.
So those are like examples of what an Iverrian is. It's basically a human that has evolved further to fit a specific niche. And their appearance and abilities often reflect that one way or another.
Right.
There are still humans in this.
Darkside's Comic says, Luka did a color page for my project. Unfortunately for me, he had no time to color my book. I can now see why. Yeah,
this takes time. I like, it is not uncommon for me to work from just 6 to 6, you know. I do take breaks, like walk the dog, eat food, stare out the window.
Oh man,
try to recover, but yeah, this is a time eater, absolutely.
Hey, one thing that I noticed, right? I'm zooming in a little bit. Maybe people can see it. I don't know. So this page, right?
Yep.
I noticed there here on the left there are like pencil strokes, or this the pencil layer. Is this in the book? Is this like a artistic choice?
It's an artistic choice for this is basically just a sticker placed over a page.
All right. Okay.
So when I was making this, when I was thinking about the Kickstarter or how to promote it, I thought about making a video or something like that. But I'm not a video maker. I mean, I can make videos. I know how to edit them, at least at a basic level. But that's not my niche. That's not my strength. So I thought, like, what can I do that's like kind of unique? So I thought about turning it into a little cute comic book. And so I made this character. This is like Lissa, the character that's like on the center of the screen. She's the main character of part 2, chapter 3, basically the second half. She takes over. So I just kind of like took her and turned her into little stickers and then like pasted her over pages and the Kickstarter page in general and gave her little chat bubbles. because I mean, we like comic books, not books.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe someone likes both, but I'm aiming a comic book audience here, so I wanted to turn the Kickstarter page into a comic book to a reasonable extent.
Cool. Yeah.
It would be kind of
interesting shaped feet. So
yeah, she gets like little demon stilettos,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
right. Okay. This art is
yeah.
great, by the way. Really cool.
Thank you.
Um,
This is just a page. This doesn't have any sticker. This is page 1. It doesn't have any
Sure.
stickers on it or funny things, whatever.
Maybe we can mention for people watching right now. You had something special for people watching, right?
Yes, I have. So the first 30 pages are on Global Comics right now. And it is like paywall behind their subscription system. So if you just like, I think the annual subscription right now is like $40 for them, and you get unlimited reading. So people who are subscribed, who have the premium account, can read it. People who don't. But I decided to make a little promo code that's unlimited use, and it lasts today and tomorrow, and maybe a little bit December the 1st. So you can read it for free by just using the code.
Right.
And of course, it's not supported here. Sending messages is only supported for
in
hosts.
the chat right now, guys.
There you go. That's the code. We could like paste it again in half an hour.
Sure. Yeah. I'll paste it later on. But this the
Comment
code
section
is
too.
in the chat right now. So people, if they use the code, where do they need to go?
Global Comics. That's where it is. That's where everything is. Global Comics has the first 118 pages for free. So no account,
Wow.
nothing required. You can just read them for free. Those are the first 2 chapters. So like chapter 3 is the first one that I plan to paywall, because at some point you need to. I do believe in free samples quite a bit, obviously. But there is an extent where you need food. So yeah.
Excellent.
So this code can be redeemed at Global Comics today and tomorrow. So you have I guess 36 hours to be safe, roughly. And you get chapter 3, the first 30 pages, for free. That's all that's uploaded there right now. The remaining pages are currently on Kickstarter only. So you'll have to wait a bit for those. But like the first 30 pages are there for those who really want to check it out early.
Wow, 30 pages. That's for most indies, that's a complete book. But for you, it's just the first 30 pages.
Dude, it takes me so long to get a single sentence out there. I mean, I'm like the writer and the artist, and I kind of do everything. So if I need 10 pages, I just make 10 pages. It does take time though. It does take time out of everything else, but I can just do it. This chapter is 92 pages long. Chapter 3 is 92 pages. So the first 30 are dedicated to King Varon, and the remaining 60 are dedicated to Lissa, his daughter. I guess I could go a little bit into what that is about. So what you're seeing here is like a preview of the start.
These are pages from chapter 3, right?
Yeah, I think the first 5 pages are just here in a row.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Free reading. There you go. A good little preview.
And so what is the basic premise or concept of this series?
So like the arc of this story, like Iverrian is the franchise, and Curse of the Crown is this saga, this epic that I'm trying to depict here. I have spent probably like a year thinking about what's the pitch, what's the 2 sentences.
Yeah, that's always difficult, right?
Yeah, and like every time I have an answer, I just fail differently. But
I know the problem, man. I write
it's
compete.
I spent like a decade just trying to figure out fleshing out this story and the characters and the world and everything, and now it's just 2 sentences, go. No. I think I did figure out what's the description with the least amount of failure in it, basically. And it's the best way would be to describe the main villain of the story. So the main villain is Chantra, and Chantra is a sunless, eldritch kind of Lovecrafting abomination. Quickest way to describe him. he is currently locked away in the Nightmare Realm, and he's trying to come back to Athoria, which is the real world, the world where most, if not, most of the characters live in. That's like the world that's like closest to ours. So the what Chantre is trying to do is come back to Athoria and cover the world in a black mist, so that there is no more sunlight left.
Oh.
And the reason he's doing that is because he and his sunless race people biome cannot dwell under the sun. They kind of need to like cover the world in their own ozone, and then they can develop there. So how he plans to do this, how he plans to execute this plan of like leaving the Nightmare Realm, entering the real world, and covering it in a dark mist so he can like regrow his empire there. That's what the book is about. Like him trying to figure out how to do it, and the rest of the characters reacting to it. So this is kind of where I wanted to have fun with it, because I've seen a lot of people say stuff to the extent of you can't make a giant monster as your main villain and make it an interesting story. You know, I kind of wanted to challenge. I know it's false, but it is kind of tougher to make that like the main villain and make him kind of like empathetic or interesting, whatever, because it's such an alien concept to us. It's such a distant character. So what I've done.
Well, Disney can do it nowadays. You know, with all their villains, they're turning into main characters.
I mean, the entire corporation is like role playing and all this.
Sorry, man.
Like, don't get me started about the movie relaunches of animations. They just make me sad. That's we can talk about it later. I need to like get my comic book across a little bit. We can come back to that.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, like one of the things how I wanted to make it interesting is Chantre cannot communicate with us at all. Like the Sunless are an entire biome. The Sunless have intelligent creatures. They have like bacteria, parasites. They have animals. They have plant life. It's anything that can be alive. Like the sun. Yeah, the Sunless just encompass a lot of things, and none of them can talk to us. Even the highly sentient ones, even like the leaders of their society, even Chantre himself, cannot communicate with us. So like the Sunless and the rest of the characters are kind of like walking past each other and trying to figure out what's happening at all. So you have like a diverse array of character reactions to Chantre, where some of them just want to straight up kill him. Some of them want to enslave him for power. Some of them think they can be like buddies and rule together. Some of them want to be his complete like slave or something, and some of them await their destruction eagerly because they're kind of like done with everything. So that's where the fun begins. You know, like you can clearly like as the comic evolves, like it's gonna take a little while, but you can clearly see that the Chantre is cooking something of his own, and everyone else is trying to react to it in a different way. Either like destroy those plans and join them, and then that's where the interesting parts come along. Because of course, if one character wants to destroy them, another one wants to serve him, another one thinks he's his friend. Like they are all in a different type of conflict.
Right. So,
yeah, like that's
Darkseid here is not a fan of sympathetic villains. He's like, oh, sympathetic villains. So you really have to convince him.
I think they do have value. I mean, sympathetic villain. It can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. You can definitely mess it up easily, but sometimes it can mean stuff like this dude is just from a warrior culture, you know. Like he sees things differently. I don't know. Like I lost my kind of train of thought.
Yeah, I know some.
But sympathetic is just if you can like figure out what his interests are.
Yeah.
You can kind of relate. You know, like it's not just an evil guy. Like yeah, Chantre wants to block out the sun. This is bad for us. I don't need to go into why this is bad for us. I think there's probably like a science article that does it better than I ever could. But like, we need the sun. He needs the sun blocked out. Like you can understand his perspective as well. I think that this is where he kind of becomes sympathetic as well. Like the Sunless did rule the world at some point. This fictional universe, they did manage to cover like pretty much everything in their own kind of like sunless dark fog mist. And they did lose it, and that's why they went into the Nightmare Realm. That's like a whole another story, basically. It will be like lightly.
A lot of lore and world.
There is a lot of
building.
lore. So they like had the world locked out, and then they were losing their mist for reasons I will not go into. And then they had to like run into the Nightmare Realm because the Nightmare Realm doesn't actually have a sun. Like even if it does, it's kind of an imitation, so it doesn't hurt them, or not nearly as much, or that they at least have somewhere else where they can run off. So that's why they're there, but they don't really fit there because the Nightmare Realm also does have its own like ecosystem and rules, and like one really I guess annoying thing about the Nightmare Realm is it's constantly and ever shifting. You could be walking through a forest and you could like walk into a storm and it turns into a desert, and then there's another storm or an earthquake and it turns into a snowy area, or now you're in like a shattered biome, like somewhere up in the sky. It's like constantly ever shifting, and like the creatures and the people that live there are used to this, and they know how to live around this, and they know how to make their own sanctuaries to survive this. But the Sunless are really clumsy at it, so like it's not their strength. They can like figure out maybe how to hold their ground somewhere for a short while, and then they need to kind of leave, basically. So they're being like thrown around. This is why they want to come back to Authoria and to reinstate their Sunless Empire. And one of the reasons for that is, while they cannot be under the sun, they do still need it. What that like Sunless Mist does, it's like its own ozone around the world that converts the sun into a unique form of energy that they use both to feed and to like run their weird contraptions and artifacts and everything like that. So they are like in a weakened state right now, which makes them like much less of a threat, you know. So there is quite a lot to unpack here, and this is just like one character and I guess one race. There's like a whole bunch of them in here.
So does your world or your story does it have a heroic figure also, or is it all like everyone has their own like motivation?
It has some heroic characters, and it has some like everyone's favorite word, like morally gray characters. You know, somewhere on the fence. So like if the main bad guy is Chandra, then the main good guy, the main hero would probably be Saira, if I had to pick one. And Saira is in chapter 1. She is the daughter of King Varan. She's a princess, and she's on a mission on like a holy mystic solo crusade to rid the world of sunless influences, because they're like seeping into the real world and trying to corrupt it. And she's there to like stop it from happening, from expanding. Sorry, you were saying something.
No, sorry. I was just I can't get over these feet. How does she walk?
I mean, the character does acknowledge that her feet are weird. So there you go. Hopefully that should make the readers feel a little bit more at home.
So you have
understood.
like regions within your world where you chose like different color palettes also. So this particular scene is very with the blues and purples.
This is the Nightmare Realm. Yeah, she's not in the real. She's not in Authoria right now. She's not in the real world. She's in the Nightmare Realm. So see, I'm just gonna like go quickly. Like Saira is the main character kind of, and she has a sister called Rena, and what you're seeing here is her third sister called Lissa. So chapter 1 is Saira and Rena, like the start of their story. And then chapter 2 is like a separate beginning with Ayla, which is like where you meet like the first Iverrian in the entire story and a whole other set of them. And now we're in chapter 3, which is also like another and like the final start. I have like 3 starting points that eventually like all converge into one. So like the third one features mainly King Varan and his daughter, Princess Lissa. So the first part of chapter 3 features King Varan and his struggles as Durokashi, which are like bandits, marauders, barbarians, are invading his homeland purely for like land and resources, like Atela's oldest time. And he has to fight them back to protect his homeland, to protect his people, and he rises to the occasion. Stuff gets complicated, and he goes kind of mad. You know, he goes kind of like mentally downhill, and you kind of follow him as this happens. So that's like the start of chapter 3. That's the first part. And then we are quickly led to Lissa, who mysteriously gets like trapped in the nightmare realm. Trying to figure out how to best like portray this, but this is basically like the pages you're showing right now. These are her adventures throughout the nightmare realm. So it starts with her being next to her father, and her father is completely catatonic. He does not respond to anything. He maybe like mumbles a sentence or two at best. They are very disconnected. They have nothing to do with the conversation that is ongoing. So like Lissa is faced with the fact that her father is there, but she lost him basically. Like she can't talk to him. He's there only like in the flesh and nothing else. And there's also this problem with like the kingdom doesn't have a king right now. So there's like a little political struggle, like a little power vacuum that's cooking there. And Liz is confronted with all of this. She's like a bit emotional, and something happens, which I'm not going to go into. That's depicted in the book in its own way. Yep. But she does mysteriously end up being pulled in the nightmare realm. And that's where she kind of gets this like new body and new outfit. She doesn't usually have these like demon stiletto legs, or bug insect legs. I guess you could kind of call them. They are a little bit buggy. She's a normal. Oh, she's not a normal human, but she looks human. And then she's transported into Nightmare Realm, where her adventure begins. So she's there to basically like travel the world and figure out a way out. So like the second part of chapter 3 is this kind of haunting, macabre Alice in Wonderland type story, where my idea was that Lissa would just get transported into the nightmare realm and she would see what her father sees or something like that, and then boom, we're back. It's like 10 pages over. And then I thought, like, the nightmare realm is literally like the other world. It's like the other half of the universe, basically. I can't just like go there for 10 pages and leave. You know, it wouldn't do it justice. So it turned into 60, as it does for me every time. You know, I have a very simple plan. It's like, ooh, what if we explore this character? Ooh, what's happening here? Ooh, well, I kind of want to draw this. Ooh, what can we have here? You know? It's just like a constant, like I feel like a character in a cartoon that's just like following, like, ooh, piece of candy, and it falls into a trap and 5 months are gone, you know. Basically that's
but you can't well, you can, but I don't think from a narrative standpoint you can't explore every individual story, right? You have to have some focus, so people can easily follow one main storyline.
Yeah.
Right?
This is something I think about. I kind of have like two challenges, to put it in a nicer way, when I'm writing the story. Like first, I do want to turn this into a franchise. Like if this is successful, I want to keep running with it for like decades, if possible. You know, if the interest is there, I'm there for sure. So I do have like the first challenge of just making Curse of the Crown a good story. And then I have the second challenge of like the world already pretty much exists in my head. So I could potentially make a plot hole that's like only visible to me. So as soon as that happens, I have to either like remove that element or add upon it or add it in or like further explain why this would be like a plot hole in this universe. So there will be like some story threads or some elements or some characters that look very interesting, but they won't be fully explored. Like they will be left for another time because like they have their own stories. They have their own 500 pages that I have to do somewhere later down the line, you know? So they're going to get like 50 when they're here in Curse of the Crown, and then maybe I'll explore them later on, which I guess there'll be like a very good way to see if the fans really like a character. So, for example, when I'm done with the Curse of the Crown, if people really care about the single character, I can just go to their story and show what they're up to. So yeah, there is that problem where I kind of like sometimes I have a good story, but then I realize, oh wait, I have this like fifth character all the way to the side that will probably have an issue with that or want to get involved. Like, what do I do with this now? And that has made the story a bit more interesting in some aspects, and it kind of does feel more fulfilling. There is like a very mysterious character that's like very powerful who I have planned to add in there. He won't get like much screen time or page time, I guess, but he does kind of like bring it all together and make it all make sense. You know, if you're like fighting, like I have this issue where like if you're fighting Chantra, like Chantra is a massive entity in the lore. He's like second only to his own emperor. Like there is like no one. There was like one person in the whole like sunless food chain. There is only one person above Chantra. So if he activates and then attacks someone or like starts a war or something, there will be like other characters that care about that. So I thought like I'm gonna embrace this so that like the world feels more fulfilled. Like, yeah, you won't get to explore this mystical character to his full extent, but it does kind of add to this feeling like, ooh, I'm just seeing like a snippet of this. There's so much more to explore here. That's definitely that's definitely a feeling I want my viewers to have.
Matthew Creek, welcome to the chat, sir. He asks, what does the promo code do?
You go to Global Comics and you type in, you redeem the promo code there. You have to make an account first, of course. And once you do that, you get chapter 3, the first 30 pages, like for free. So you get like a very like nice 30-page part 1 preview of the start of this chapter, basically.
Yeah, fantastic. By the way, you have your own website, and people can like access your Global Comics site also through there.
Yeah, Iverrian.com. That's like, if you're ever like wondering what that guy's doing, like somewhere down the line in a couple of months for whatever reason, you could just go there, and if there's something new, there's going to be like a little sticker you can click that just takes you there immediately. So yeah, like the first sticker here is chapter 1, chapter 2, and like chapter 3 is on Kickstarter. So there you go. There is also like a newsletter down there that I'm trying to like grow and evolve. It's a painfully slow process, but we're doing it. And a couple of descriptions.
This piece, man. Look. I commented on this piece on social media before, but this is masterful. I just love it.
Thank you so much.
I love everything about it. The color choice, the lighting, the character, the way she's posed, and even the logo below. So well done.
Yeah, this one was like a struggle. I remember I started working on this, and there was like a voice in my head like, "Are you sure? Are you 100% sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." What
was the struggle? What made you doubt?
Oh, there was. I like having a lot of details. There's I guess in Latin, horror vacui, it's a fear of empty space. And like my artist friends in high school were sometimes, and some of my professors were calling me like horror vacui because I'm afraid of empty space. You know, I just need to like, I have this urge to like fill up and put equal attention into everything. So of course, this creates a lot of problems. When you put equal attention into everything, then like nothing is the focus, and the viewer's eye gets like strained and overwhelmed immediately, and then they don't know what they're looking at. And like they look at a picture and they like the viewer sees that, oh, I need to spend some time to figure out what's happening here. I'm just gonna move on to the next thing, you know, bye. Like not everyone has the willpower to like decipher an image. So you have to be like careful with that. Like how do you add so many details and still have a focus in your painting, still have like the main object, like the centerpiece of it all. Right. So like that was the main issue. Like how do I make, I have this like back and forth struggle where I want every detail to like get the love it deserves, but there also needs to be like a focus. So the way you solve that is with values. You know, if you have like a different color or a different value somewhere, usually that kind of like does the trick. So as you can see here, like Lissa is here in the center, and she's kind of like a darker figure, and like the little space around her is light. It's lit up. So you immediately like see it, like the center is lit up, and there's like a dark figure in the middle of it. So you know, like, oh, this is like the center of the painting, of the picture, and then you can go from there and explore. Like that was my idea. Like, oh, it's a woman in a strange hillscape. Right. Okay. And now you can go on, like you can like move on from the picture, or you can explore it visually. You know, to everyone's liking. Someone's gonna look at it and think to themselves like, "Oh, I get it," and someone else is just gonna sit down for 10
also
minutes.
like it tells some sort of story also, because
all
the movement, there is movement within this picture, and everything moves towards here, towards the top, where you have this
oh my god, you actually
yellow
I'm so
yellow
happy.
element.
Dude,
There's no
I'm
yellow
so
anywhere
happy.
besides there, so that's intriguing. That's a little story point.
That's like the second focus. I'm so happy. Like I have something in my head, and I show it like to my wife. She's also an artist, and she figures it out. And I'm like, of course she figures it out. She knows the story. She's an artist.
Yeah.
You know, she's like too good of an audience. Basically, she knows too much. So when someone outside of this like tiny 2-man circle figures it out, I'm very happy. Yeah. The moon is very important here, and once you read chapter 3, you will figure out what that moon is. It is a thing. It is very important,
right?
You know, so yeah.
That's a poster, man. When you do, can people get this as a poster? It should be. A poster.
It's on the Kickstarter. You can get it as a print. Right. I should open like an imprint or display or something and just like leave some of my work there. But yeah, I could go on with that cover for like ages. Like one of the a piece of advice I heard for covers is that I do believe in, is that a really good cover is a really good question.
Good cover.
So that's like, you know, it's not the only way to make a good cover. You know, you can just make something appealing; it'll work. But if you can like make a cover that someone looks at and thinks to themselves like, what is that? Like you're already like 1 foot through the door. You already have a little bug in their brain, like doing the work for you. So that is something that I wanted to do. Like another thing that was like a huge goal for me is that like obviously like Iverrian does have a lot of like visual appeal with the character design. So I'm kind of like walking this tricky line where I kind of want people to go into this and to know like this isn't an adult book, you know, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So how do I make a cover that communicates? Yeah, the characters are really sexy, but this isn't an adult book. It's just a little spice for the story, just something to make the pictures nicer. Yeah. So this was my solution. Basically, make the characters smaller and like put them in the story in an area where somewhere is happening. Yeah. That's kind of what I tried to do here. So you can clearly see that the main character is quite attractive, but you also see like that's not the main focus. Like the focus, like the overwhelming majority, what's most important here is the world itself and the adventure they go through. Like one thing I care about a lot is that the world itself feels dangerous. I don't want a character that just like flies through everything, beats up the bad guy, flies back, waits for the next mission. You know, like if you find a cliff, that's an issue. If there's a tornado, that's an issue. If there's an earthquake, that's an issue. If there's like a dense forest, that's an issue.
Dangerous world. Yeah,
like, I really want to keep that feeling. It matters a lot to me. It's kind of like my pet peeve when you play a video game and you just like fly across everything and like nothing matters. Like, why did you even design this? You know, just.
So, guys, the link to the Kickstarter, but also to this website, is in the description of this video, and you can also see like the evolution of Luka's art here. Like,
yeah, I need to make that as like a little promo image, like where it started, where it's going.
Yeah,
because it did evolve heavily, like quite a bit from the first couple of pages.
Yeah, like remastered editions or something.
Yeah, basically. I have considered like going back and updating like chapter 1 because of course that's the one that's like lagging behind the most. But I kind of want like people to see where it started and how I think there is like
but this is cool. People can actually really see where you started and where you're at right now.
Like,
that tells the story also. That tells the story of the artist, right? So only for that reason you could probably decide to keep it that way. But I can imagine as the artist you want everything to be perfect, right? So you
yeah, I mean that's what I was talking about. I kind of do want to leave it like chapter 1 as it is. I do think there's like some value and it is kind of like sweet to see how someone started and just like reiterated on the idea and expanded it and then figure out like new ways to make the images more dramatic, more interesting, more visually appealing.
Right.
So like I can imagine that someone could have a lot of fun with that alone. Like the only thing that did kind of break this apart is that I did go back to chapter 1 and add 15 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, like as I said, I need 10 pages. I make 10 pages.
Yeah.
We needed 15.
Yeah. Well.
I did get a little bit of feedback on chapter 1. And while it is a type of feedback I can ignore because it's basically like some people were like, I'm not sure why this character is here. And an easy answer to that is, well, like keep reading, you know, like you'll figure it out. Like we'll get there.
Wow.
But I did.
So is this story? Is this your your magnum opus? Is it your lifelong project?
Yes, I mean Iverrian. I'm trying to turn Iverrian into like a lifelong project. Of course, if there's like the next Kickstarter and it gets like $200, and then we go to stores and it just everything gets returned, then you know, like I'm not that dense. At one point, you kind of do have to like go back to the drawing board and restart. But as long as there's like some kind of interest, as long as I see that it can go somewhere, I definitely will keep working on this. And this is something that I want to like turn into a lifelong project. So again, Iverrian is that lifelong project, that franchise, and Curse of the Crown is just like one story that is going to take quite a while. Like we are currently on this is currently chapter 3. And by my estimates, I have like the story written down.
By the way, I forgot to ask. I'm pretty curious about that. Sorry, sorry about that. Before I forget, right? Do you have like a you have like proof readers or a editor who can kind of
my publisher is my editor. I would be interested. I have been thinking about like a test audience or something like that. I don't know where you find a
test audience by your readers, right? That's your best test audience. Your customers, your readers, right? That's after the fact, right? The book is out, and then you get feedback.
Yeah, sure. There is. Oh man, there's I guess that will get tested. Chapter 4 is done right now. Like like this is the Kickstarter for chapter 3. It's at 92 pages. Chapter 4 is done. It's at no 104 pages done.
Wow.
I could literally just upload it right now if I want. I'm not gonna do that, of course. If we have like
what do you mean done?
Done, right? Done. Coloring, inking.
What? The next chapter is completely drawn.
Done. Yes, I could send it to you. You could read it. It would be like a functioning story. Everything's fine. If there was like an emergency and we needed to print it tomorrow, I would probably just like adjust a couple of minor bugs and like send it. So yeah, there is like chapter 4 is the reason I have thought of a test audience, because like the first 30 pages of chapter 4 are quite dialogue heavy. And I would like for some readers to like go through that and figure it out and see if it makes sense to them. Luckily, there is a perk here. If we reach, I think if we reach like 50 backers, so like we're at like what 38 right now. It's pretty much guaranteed. We'll get
back
there.
People, back this campaign.
Yeah, there you go. If we reach 50 backers, they are getting a PDF of the first 30 pages. For like as an addition of everyone, just there you go. Here's the PDF, read it. So that is like the main thing I kind of want to test and see how it goes with people. So I guess everyone will have it kind of by the end of the campaign. It is dialogue heavy. It goes back into like a lot of the past life and traumas of Saira and Rena, the characters from chapter 1. It explores their backstory quite a bit and their motivations and kind of their flaws as well. So yeah, it's like a deep dialogue between two characters and like a bonus flashback on top of everything else this is like the only part where I'm kind of like worried about the dialogue, how much it will make sense. I keep going back to it and like adjusting little bits and like making it like a little bit simpler, easier, streamlining it, trying to make it like as clean as possible.
Yeah,
that is like the main part I'm worried about. But yeah,
I know the problem. Yeah, you have to cut and slice to have the basics, right?
I'm constantly thinking about it, like because it is like 30 pages that set up quite a bit of this. I mean, again, the character motivations like that is quite important. Like, why are they here? You know, and that is something like the character motivations are also something that I did work on when I reworked chapter 1. Like chapter 1 got a completely new intro with like 5 pages that like chapter 1 now kind of starts in the nightmare realm and then goes back to the real world. It starts with the character having a nightmare that explains her biggest fears. and then you can see how her biggest fear motivates her to do what she does for the remainder of the chapter and like quite a large chunk of the story overall.
All right. Great stuff, man. You could talk about this for hours. There's a lot going on. You have a lot of lore. There's a big world, like 1 million characters. So if people are watching right now and they love like fantasy, a bit of horror, maybe. Also,
it does lean into the horror.
A little
quite
bit.
a bit. I mean, it's not like again. I don't like going into like slasher flicks and grotesque stuff. I'm not trying to make anyone like close the pages and put the book down for a while or something. Like I don't want anyone to like look at a page
level, but yeah. Okay.
I don't want anyone to like look at a page and think to themselves, "I didn't need this today." Thank you. You know, I didn't need this. I didn't need to see this. I don't want to go there, but there's still like plenty of stuff you can do, like plenty of like mental dread. And like nightmares and issues and like horrible scenarios you can go without reaching those like higher end, like worst possible levels. So it does lean into like horror. There's like the Nightmare Realm is just pure chaos and like very strange characters that adapted to it and their own ways.
It's really fun to see like creators do their own thing, like going wild with their imagination, putting it on the page, right?
One thing that I want to like add to this, it is kind of a selling point, is that this is a fantasy story, but it's not Tolkien-like fantasy. It does have some similarities, of course, but when I say it's not Tolkien-like, I mean I don't have elves, I don't have orcs, I don't have like hobbits, ogres, and stuff like that. There are some races like dragons are pretty important in the world overall. But like the main race is Iverrian, as I said previously, which is kind of like its own strange evolved humanoid. There are races beyond that, like the Sunless are kind of their own thing. Like Tolkien probably has something similar, but he doesn't have like the Sunless that function the same way, that like need to cover the world in black mist, and then the black mist absorbs the sun, and then they feed off of that. I don't think Tolkien has that anywhere. So I do respect his work, of course. I think he did fantastic stuff. I don't need to, like,
well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Like sticking to the like generic fantasy types. You created your own world with your own creatures, which is appreciated. We need more of that. So thank you.
One thing, there are like some similarities, of course. Like orcs are the brutish race, elves are like the fancy, full of themselves race. There are like those similarities, but beyond that, it is trying to be its own thing as much as reasonably possible. Yeah.
Luka, we need to close off. The hour is
and
by really fast, man.
Yep, I had fun. Thank you so much again for like inviting me here, making the extra slot.
Well, thank you for being my guest, man.
Yeah, cool. that was amazing. Thank you.
All right, guys.
And thank you to the chat for like commenting, watching. Redeem the codes. It's there. It's free.
Use the codes, guys.
The codes in the chat. You can put them like in the comment section when the VOD is up or something. Like it's good for like until the end of the month, so people can still catch it.
Guys, before we close off, I have something of my own to share also, because I'm also a creator, and I make and I make like comic book about superheroes. So we have a wonderful artist right now with Luka, but I'm working with POWERTRIP and with Alan Goldman, also wonderful artists. Look at this, guys. This is classic superhero stuff. So if you're a little bit done with mainstream comics, come over to Jamin Comics. We make the stuff that you want, right? Like this is pure superhero action adventure with beautiful women, manly men, awesome superpowers, colorful art. Look at this. It's all drawn by Pau Rodrigues, colored by Daniel Rodriguez. We have like a double page spread that I can't really show.
Dude, you're admiring my cover and you have this. Like, damn, bro. I'm here talking about details and you just dropped that.
Look, man,
okay.
I know quality. I know quality when I see it, you know?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So yeah, so guys, superhero galore. So go check this out. This is on Fund My Comic. By the way, Fund My Comic is a crowdfunding site by creators for creators. So help them out back there. We're also on Indiegogo if you're rather back there. The links are all in the description of this video. And alongside Perfect 10 Book 5, we also have POWERTRIP Book 2, which are 3 shorter stories by different creative teams. And all these stories in all these comics take place in the Jamin Comics universe. It's one shared universe, guys, where different creators play in. It's really, really cool. We have the Flying Dutchman, we have Shadow Lion, we have the Phenomenals. And this book, by the way, this book is completely printed. I have it right here. Look at this. This is done. It's printed. It's in my hand. So if you back this, and you can also get the digital edition. If you back digital, for instance, I will send it to you immediately. You will have it the same day, right? So the links to all of this is in the description, guys. Go check it out. And my screen shares. Luka, thank you so much for being my guest for today. And good luck with your campaign, sir.
Good luck to you as well, and thank you again.
Oh, and I see another new name, George Ducic.
George Ducic.
Oh,
thank you for joining.
Almost, almost got it.
Yeah, let's say I know him. You know, I know the guy.
Sure.
You know, swell dude.
Right. Thanks for the code and the info. This is great. I love it all. The code is still in the chat. Go find it and go use it on Global Comics, right? All right, guys. This is the end of the stream. I will be back for my regular show next Sunday with my guest Paul Thayer. So we will talk about Project Naosis next Sunday, same time, same channel, with Paul. So hope to see you guys then. Where's my outro? There it is. Bye, guys.
Bye.